it did change my life. It changed
Really?
everything about what
That's
I had
amazing.
experienced before coming out there. Thinking back, like, I don't know what I would do if that experience never happened. In the environment I grew up in, I knew that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life there. I knew that there was more, but I didn't know what more looked like.
What advice would you give to women who want to invest, but they don't feel confident yet?
If you're not comfortable yet, I do suggest still speaking with a realtor, somebody that you connect with. When I first met my realtor, I wasn't ready yet. It was like a year or so.
Happy Wednesday, winners. It is our favorite day of the week, and you are now tuned in to another weekly episode of the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and I'm so excited for y'all to meet today's winning lady, y'all. She is a powerhouse, and I'm going to have her introduce herself, but I'm so honored to just have met this woman, and this is a full circle moment to have her here with me on the couch. So Alicia Arnold is her name. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am happy to be here. As she said, my name is Alicia Arnold. I am from Southwest Atlanta.
Woo, woo.
I wear a lot of hats. One of them involved, I have a tech career. I own an event space. I own rental properties. I do a lot of things. I'm one of those people that will try something. If it works, stick to it. If it don't, kick it to the curb.
I'm so glad. And today, y'all, we're going to get right into it, okay? So I absolutely love that because I'm a person, too. I be finding my hands in, like, everything also. And sometimes I got to reel my own self back in.
Because it costs money.
So I'm just super excited to just get into your story because we see you in your glory now in the success part, but we just don't know what it took for you to get here to become a venue owner and stuff like that. So I'm super excited, y'all. Just so you know, we're going to drop a little tea. The Modern is where we're holding our annual vision board party. So I'm super excited. Yes, our first collab of many, hopefully together, right?
Yes.
So I want to, I always like to start these with just getting to know my guests. Some of my favorite like artists and just people, I started listening to them once I seen them in the interview.
Okay.
Yes.
I can say the same, actually. Think about like the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. They drop interviews. I'm like, who's that?
And then I'll go listen to this person or
Okay,
something like that.
I like that.
So I love interviews and conversations. I feel like it's a way for people to just get to know you and your story. And then, they may relate to it. From there, they like, you know what, let me go support Alicia. I actually like her and who she is too,
I hope that's the case, y'all.
Yeah, so this is going to be the case, okay? So that's why we're here. I love these interviews. So I like to just get to know you just a little bit, the early stages, before we get into the business and the brand talking, okay? So you're born and raised right here?
So I grew up on different parts of Atlanta. I was just telling my Uber driver that it really is where I resonate the most because I lived some places, but if I tell y'all where I lived and y'all start asking me questions, I'm just going to have to change the subject. So I identify with Campbellton Road, Southwest Atlanta Zone 4. I went to high school. I went to Thorough High School. And so that is where I spent the largest chunk of my life, and that's where a lot of my family lives.
Okay, and when we talk about family, let's talk about that because I always find it interesting to see if people who are in an entrepreneurship space, like, is that something they saw growing up? Like, were your parents entrepreneurs, family? What was your family life like?
So a lot of my family, they worked in the corporate space.
Okay.
Myself, though, as far as like my household, we were poor. So I think that's where my entrepreneurial spirit came from.
I gotta get it.
It's like, how can I stretch $1 and make another one? So that's really where it came from. And I also never saw entrepreneurship for myself. Even though I was a business major, I never, ever, it really happened by accident. I mean that. It happened by accident. I just told y'all something came over me and I was like, oh, let's try to do that twice.
Okay.
And it just kept happening. But
it kept happening. So
crazy.
I love that. Honestly, see y'all, it's good already and we like 2 minutes in. But I love to hear that just so, because you're doing well.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You're doing well. So it's, being that this wasn't a part of the plan, and I found out doing my research, I told her, I've been stalking her page, that even college, getting your education wasn't a part of the plan.
It sure was not.
So we're going to get into that. But I just want to ask, so that never crossed your mind. You didn't really see entrepreneurship growing up. But what about the education part? Because that wasn't part of the plan. Did you come from a family that was like, no, you going to school?
This is what it was. In the environment I grew up in, I knew that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life there. I knew that there was more, but I didn't know what more looked like. Like, even though I had family members that had careers, we weren't in a position where I'm like, oh, this is the path they took. They took this degree, they did this major, they went to this career. It was nothing that sparked the interest in me, no matter what it was. But I didn't go to college right after high school. I took like a year and a half off, and I was working at Six Flags. I'm like, oh, I'm going to just work at Six Flags, and then I'm going to just make this my career. Then I got fired.
And so, let me tell you something. I pause, okay? Because that's how we're going to get into your college education. Because, again, I went and I think your college story is special. So that's why I actually have it here to share because I think it's special also. So you said you was just going to be a working woman. You hadn't even
That's
really...
what everybody else was doing.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And then there's this whole thing of like, oh, but all my friends in college, they ain't got no money. But I didn't, that maybe that's right now, but long term, like eligibility, I guess earning potential was not something I was thinking about. But yeah, I got fired from Six Flags October 2008. I think I started college August 2008, and literally the only reason why I enrolled is because one of my best friends enrolled at this school that you see on TV, Modern College, which is shut down now.
Yes,
it's shut down, and so I was like, okay, you going to college? I'm going too.
Okay,
and then that's just how I got to college.
And that's how you ended up going there.
Yes.
You took the year off. You say you was gonna work. Your homegirl go to school, so you say, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to school.
Yeah.
And this is where your story gets interesting for me, okay? You pursued your education, and I noticed that you didn't want to go, but you ended up getting your associates. And
come on,
listen,
yeah, I
did my homework, okay? So you end up getting your associates, but I think this is where it gets interesting because even though you didn't want to go, you still to say, okay, I might as well go get my 4-year. So what made you, though, make that decision even though you didn't even want to go?
Because I knew that I probably wasn't going to make the type of stable money that I wanted with just an associate's degree. I also was a little ashamed of having an associate because I'm just like, people don't really say, oh, I'm going to school to get my associates. They say I'm going to get my bachelor's at least. So I'm like, okay, well, I've done this much. I've got 2 more years. Let me just finish it or continue it in some kind of way. Yeah.
So you talked about your GPA not being where it needed to be.
You don't play.
Did my research, y'all.
Yes, my GPA sucked, y'all. It was so I was never like I never made bad grades, but college was a huge reality check for me. So and no shade to my high school, we weren't a top performing school, so it wasn't hard to be at the top of your class at my school. No shade. And so when I went to college, it was a reality check because now I'm responsible for myself. I book my own classes. I have to show up on my own. I have to commute to school versus the school was
a different level of discipline.
Totally different. I made my first F, and then I didn't know how hard it was to raise your GPA after getting the F.
Yeah.
And then from there, I mean, I had friends that weren't going to class, so I wasn't going to class. And I'm not even that type of person, but I also didn't want to be the one that wasn't like being rebellious, as crazy as that might sound. So that's what it was. So I did get my associates from Barter. I went to I wanted to go to Clayton State. I wanted to just go anywhere that wasn't far because I didn't have a car, and so I needed to get to a school that was accessible. I did eventually get one when I went to Georgia Perimeter, but anyhow, so I went to Georgia Perimeter to raise my GPA, and then I got it to the acceptance at Clayton State. Y'all, the acceptance GPA at Clayton State wasn't very high, but I got there, and I also worked a lot. That's another barrier to that. So I prioritized making money. I was just like, as long as I pass the class, I don't really care. That's really what my mindset was. And so yeah, that's what happened. So I went to Georgia Perimeter. I transferred to Clayton State. I did like a year and a half there. A setback at Barter, it was a private institution, so a lot of their classes didn't transfer over.
I wrote that down.
Come on, I love that. Yeah, that's something I feel like people might not always think about when it comes to transferring. It can set you back. I mean, I pretty much did those 2 years over again.
And so I want to talk about that again because, you know, some people think college may be cookie cutter experience for everybody, you know? And so again, your story is just interesting me because you didn't want to go. You went because your friend was going, right? And then you still decided to pursue it and get the 4-year after the associates, and then you transferred. You found out that all the schooling that you didn't even count, and your credits was rejected. Yeah. So did you ever feel like, I didn't want to do this anyway?
No.
It is what it is. Because I do see, you know, in stalking you, that you end up setting a path for yourself where you pursue your business administration and then double minor, y'all.
So even though I never wanted to go to school, I was always ambitious. I just didn't have anything to fuel that ambition. So I didn't really have any real goals yet. So I think that's what it was. I started something I have to finish. Like I cannot go back to Campbellton. I cannot become a statistic. No shade, but I didn't, you know, there were certain things I just did not want associated with my name. So I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I gotta work because I need money. I'm just gonna stack my credits. If I gotta do 18, 21 credit hours per semester, I will do that. But I have to graduate, and that's what I just stayed down. That's really what it was. And even the double minor thing is funny because that was a result of all those extra classes from the first school.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, how can I get credit for this on my degree?
Okay. And that's how you end up doing the marketing.
The marketing and supply chain man. So they'd be like, oh, you need one more class for this to qualify as a minor. Okay. Let's do it.
Might as well get it out of the way.
We're here now. We might as well do it. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit. Just again, childhood, just because people that know me, they wouldn't be surprised that I have my hands in some of the things that I have my hands in, just because as a child I was talkative. Sometimes my mom be like, Mercedes, 5 minutes, let's just please.
I get that today.
Right. Ain't nothing changed, So it just be moments like that. Even just how creative I've just kind of always been that way. But I just want to talk about little Alicia, what did you find yourself doing as a child? Like, were you into curating moments and experiences, before we get to that? I'm just curious to know what little Alicia was like.
I was
that didn't want to go to college.
Right. I was really talkative. I promise y'all, I really was the smart friend. I know that's crazy because I didn't want to go to college, but I was always a smart friend. I was always talkative, but I spent a lot of time by myself. And I think that's what also helped my intellect in a way, because I would read a lot. I'm watching a lot of TV. I'm watching like biographies. So I'm finding people in this fictional world to like resonate with. And so that's what I was doing. Spent a lot of time with my cousins. I was not allowed to go outside much. So I was just in the house with my door closed, child.
Do you have siblings?
I have a younger brother, and then I have 2 brothers and a sister from my dad's side. So I got 3 half siblings. Even though we don't use the half word. I'm just letting y'all know for the story's sake.
Right, for the story's sake, right? So you can get it. Okay, so that is very interesting. And so a minor in marketing and then a minor in supply chain management and logistics. What is that?
So supply chain, so it's basically the birth and death of products. So from the cradle to the grave, how a microphone is, the idea of a microphone, sourcing the parts to create it, getting it to a manufacturer, having it sent to a retailer, them selling it, how does it get to you, and then maybe how long you have it for another product to come out.
Okay, I got you. Smart. Around here. So I'm curious to know, you went to school, so what was the plan? And sometimes it's okay. People need to know it's okay to not have like a set plan.
Didn't have a plan, just so y'all know. I know everything looks good now. People don't believe me, but I did not have I was just going with the flow. I'm like, all right, let me try this. And others might say they might have, people from the outside looking at it might think I had a plan, but I just was doing stuff. Just was doing something. Just doing it. Just be doing it.
And so something I do want to talk about too, because you were saying before you had to start over, you had to, sit with yourself, because all this happened because of an impromptu decision that you made that you didn't even want to make, and that's just you like going to school. You didn't even want to go, but you went because your friend went. Like, is that what you were referring to?
Yeah. So I was fearful of student loans. That's all I used to hear about growing up. Student loans. I didn't have the GPA to get scholarships, and there probably were scholarships I qualified for, but I didn't put the effort in to write essays and things like that. Even though I was a great writer, I just did not have inspiration, y'all. That's the truth. And so that was the impromptu decision that I'm just like, all right, let's go. Let's just go to school and see what happens. I toured this school and started class the same day.
Really?
I'm not kidding. That's how the TV show. That's how the TV schools work, y'all. You just.
Girl,
that's how they're like, all right, you want to start right now? We got a 6 o'clock class and economics.
5 minutes.
So
I'm ICDC college.
Basically,
that's probably the same thing.
They fired from the same house. It's the same people.
Oh man, Alicia.
It did what it got me. It got me out of the house. It fueled as much as that school costed. It helped me get up out the house.
That's crazy. So what? What did you learn from that? Like, when it comes to your decision making, though, and did that make you say, let me get serious about me and my decisions for myself? Like, let me think more intentionally about it. Like, because again, when you were in that first school, was business administration the degree, or did you think about that and change it eventually, or what?
Yeah, so that's funny you asked me that. So I always wanted to be on the radio.
Okay.
So I thought I was going to be a broadcast major. They didn't have that kind of degree. And so the lady was like, you can do business marketing, which was not related whatsoever. But I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I also felt like, even at that moment, I felt like business was wide enough for me to just figure something out eventually.
Oh, got you.
So that's what it was, business marketing, which is where that little marketing piece is how it ended up becoming a minor, because I took marketing classes.
And low key, you be using that in your own like entrepreneurship space, and you don't even be meaning to. You already got that knowledge.
It's in my head.
Love that. See, God is intentional.
No, he quite literally. That's why I can't take credit for none of it at all.
So after college, I'm curious to know, because you didn't have a plan, you just been winging it. So like now you got this business administration degree, you got these minors. What was the plan for Alicia then?
Girl,
tell me about that journey.
No clue. Okay,
nothing.
Let me tell. I know y'all. I really didn't have, and this is no shade to the people that had access to me when I was younger, but I didn't have any guidance. I really didn't. So this is what happened. I worked a lot of jobs throughout college. I mean, every tourist attraction in Atlanta, I worked at. Six Flags, the Ferris wheel, the aquarium, the zoo, all of them. And so I knew deep down these were not jobs that were going to help me gain experience. I also couldn't afford to take an unpaid internship. Like interns at the time that I was in college, at least to my knowledge, there weren't many that paid. And if they did pay, they required maybe a certain kind of field, and it wasn't mine. And so I got a job at the Apple store my last semester of college, and I worked at the Apple store for like 3 years. This was in 2014. 2017, they have a program that allows people that work in retail to get an experience working at the corporate office. So I was able to get that, and that was my internship.
Okay.
And from there, I was able to actually see people in career roles, get to know like some of the stuff they work on. It showed me like, Alicia, you actually have a lot of these skills that they're doing. You just don't know how to like show it as a transferable skill to get up out of retail. And so I did an internship for the entire summer of 2017. I came back 2 weeks from coming back. I got my first career job somewhere else.
Okay.
So I left Apple Retail. That's the only job I'm gonna claim publicly. I left there, and that was it. It was literally up from there.
Today's episode is brought to you by Renewed Canvas Beauty Bar, where crowns are restored, revived, and slayed to perfection. They specialize in lock extensions, braids, and all-around natural hair care. And their stylists have magic in their hands, and they put love in every part. If you would like your hair slayed to perfection like mine, make sure you hit up my girl and the whole team down in Atlanta at the Renewed Canvas Beauty Bar.
The theme for January is new levels and new legacy. So I like to ask people like the mindset that you had to adapt to get to the level that you are today. So let's take it back to then. What mindset did you feel like, again, you were put in the room, you're seeing these things now around you. I guess you begin to get inspired after having no inspiration, and guidance, it's like, okay, I can kind of see myself walking in this lane. What was your mindset like then, what was that moment of like, okay.
This is at the internship?
Yeah, at the internship.
It was actually very challenging. I was not polished at all. And I'm not really that polished now, but I know how to play. I know how to switch it on and off. The way I presented myself, how I talked, my knowledge was very limited. And in Apple, their corporate environment is a lot of like Ivy League institutions. So I was really intimidated. And so like the way I dressed, the way I spoke, it just was not, I was caught off guard because when you come in from a retail environment, it's very relaxed, it's fun, you can be yourself. And so I had a hard time. I didn't have a hard time there with them per se because Apple is still a fun company.
Right.
There's things that were like, in the moment, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. That's you being too relaxed. So when I got the actual salary job after that, I got some feedback about like maybe like some of the things I was doing at my desk, like watching YouTube videos, like just doing things that it was making me become an adult. And so for me, I had to take it. I had to realize like the corporate space is not for personalities. It's not, what I mean? You are helping someone else run their business, a very successful one at that. So you kind of have to assimilate. And I don't really want Black people to feel like they have to assimilate, but you also do sometimes. That's just part of it. Especially in the type of work that I do. Like I don't really work in a space where it's like quirky. You know what I mean? So that's really what it was. Like I always knew I needed money. I don't ever want to go back to where I came from, but I also need to play the part that's necessary if I want to grow. And so I mean, it took some time for sure. That was a really, really big hurdle for me. Like I was emotional. I actually cried in front of my first boss, and I regret that actually.
And how long were you in that role? You said for about a year?
In that specific role, a year at that company, like 3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So they hooked me up.
And
Appreciate
so,
that.
During those 3.5 years, like what was Alicia doing for her personal self though? Like to develop and like grow as a woman, because our mindset changes.
Yeah.
You know what I
sure.
mean? And who we are changes and we evolve as humans. So during those 3.5 years, like what was the difference between Alicia when she first started and then coming out, and what made you move on to something else? Like
that is a really good question.
Thank you.
So when I first of all, the first month of me working, I bought my first property.
Okay.
And this was a result. This is when real estate was affordable in Atlanta, by the way.
And it's crazy because my next question though was how did you find yourself into like the real estate lane?
Yes.
So while you were there, you bought your first property.
Yeah, that process started when I was working at Apple.
How'd you even get there? What made you do that? Who inspired you? Did you see somebody doing that?
Girl,
like what made you do that?
This. I got a flyer in the mail about leasing to own. I was like, what's that about?
Wow.
Yes. And so now I did not use that program, but that was the first time home ownership was even an option. I said, well, let me just look at, because I think the flyer might have said you can have this home for like $700 a month. I'm like, well, my rent, $725, no, RIP to that. But I was like, well, maybe I could be paying a mortgage. And so now that was before I went on my internship. When I went on my internship, that was from January to July. my lease ended in my apartment in February. So I was rent free pretty much for that whole internship, which allowed me to save money. And I was getting a per diem for my job. They were paying for my apartment. So it allowed me to save money for this down payment that I didn't even know was coming up.
Right.
And so it allowed me to pay off debt. I paid off credit card. I did all this stuff at that time. So that prepared me for home ownership. Now this was a plan. This was like, okay, I'm gonna look into this lease to own thing when I get back to Georgia, and I'm gonna use this money I'm saving to put me, because I didn't know that debt will prevent you from buying a home. And so anyhow, I get back, I stay with my sister for the first month. I'm closing on this condo that I bought. I got my new big girl job, and then now because of the things I've been able to do in California, I have a large savings that I never thought that I would ever see in my life. I'm like, oh my God. And that's what happened. So I lived in that condo for 2 years. I saw that rent in that area was much more expensive than the mortgage that I was paying. So I'm like, I can either make this a rental property, or I can sell it, pocket that money, pay off more debt, and then use it to buy something else. And that's what I did.
And that's what you did. And so what was it like from you being a Georgia peach your whole life and spending that time in California? Like,
that was another challenge.
Yeah, tell me about the challenges that come with that. Because, me, I'm not from here. I'm from Florida. It took my 4th year. My 4th year was my best year. The first 3 years, I was like, Lord, why did I move from Florida? So what about you and your challenges? That's way
So
on the
it was
side.
a challenge for me socially. I did not have, I was in the heart of Silicon Valley. So I'm like amongst a lot of, granted, I'm a nerd, but this is like a different level of nerd, no shade. Like it really was. So I didn't make friends right away. It probably was 2 weeks before I saw another black person.
Really?
Like, and there were not a lot of black people at my job either.
See, and you being a Georgia peach,
yeah,
y'all.
and my accent is different. I'm probably a little hood still. So, cause I was fresh out the hood when I went out there. And so I think, and I knew how to like speak professionally, but I do not want to hear how I sounded. Looking back, I don't want to hear. I probably thought I sounded professional,
right?
But it was challenging in that aspect. So I had my friend was my roommate, and she's not black, but she was a cool girl. And then there was one other black girl who was on the same internship program. She was in a different role, but we did connect, and we are still friends to this day. So I had that, but the people that told me they would come see me never came to see me, and I felt like I experienced depression, honestly, because I didn't have any sense of identity out there. It was just very strange, and the black people I would meet, they were just totally different from me. We just didn't have anything in common, and so I started a wellness journey. I started working out. I lost a lot of weight. I walked to work. I started eating different. I started working out. These are just things I did with my free time aside from working. And it really, so think about it. I don't have anybody out here. I'm working out. I'm saving money. I'm preparing I'm just really shifting a lot of different parts of my life. And I truly credit Apple for that internship, because it did change my life. It changed everything about what I had experienced before coming out there. Like thinking back, like I don't know what I would do if that experience never happened.
Really,
I would have figured it out, but in the way it happened, like I locked in. I was just like, we getting out the hood. We not going back.
We're gonna make the most.
Yes.
I love that. So you went to California. You end up coming back here. That's how you found yourself getting into that real estate thing. The whole lease to own. Got just something in the mail.
Yeah, just a flyer in the mail. And I remember someone saying like, well, leasing to own is not always the best route. It is an option for people, but I always had good credit. And typically it's good for people that might have some credit challenges. And so when I found out I qualified for a traditional mortgage loan, I was like, oh, well, I can just do this. And then, girl, and I met my realtor at the Apple store where I worked at. She was a customer. So it's just like Apple. Again, I ain't want to mention no employees, but I got Apple. You ate that.
You ate that. Okay.
You ate that Apple.
Which one time for Apple?
One time for Apple.
One time for Apple. That's good though. To me, that's like if I was looking at a resume, I would be like, Apple?
Yeah.
Like I would look at that, Even with the real estate, you said you decided you could either, keep your condo, rent it out, or you could do this, save it. And so now you are how many properties in? Like how long have you been doing this now?
Today?
Yeah,
so
today.
I've owned a total of 5, and I've been doing it since 2017. So 9 years? Yeah, about 9 years I've been doing it. See, the reason why I didn't keep that first property and rent it out is because I didn't have the money to buy another one, and my income wasn't high enough to qualify for another home, so I had to sell it. I paid $94,000 for it. I sold it for $118,000. I might have made like $22,000.
Okay.
Never seen that kind of money in my life. And I'm like, oh.
Cool. Right.
And so then I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy a place I want. I lived there, moved out, made $10,000. And so now
you sold that one again. Okay.
And so it's getting to the point now where every property I bought, I'm not spending my money. I'm using money that I made that I never had to earn, really. So I'm like just moving to be moving. And so that's something that taught me like, okay, real estate it can, like a lot of times when people buy homes, they want their dream home.
Right.
But you should look at it as a savings account. You can look at it as a savings account, I'll say. Because I knew that one, matter of fact, when I bought that 1-bedroom condo, some people were like, well, that's stupid. Why would you buy a 1-bedroom condo? You're not going to be able to sell it. But I'm like, you know how many people sold it before me? You know what I mean? And if I wanted to buy it, why wouldn't someone else? And I've never had a hard time selling any of the properties I've ever sold. So that's just what happened. I'm just like, okay, I can buy this home. It's trending to earn about 10 to 15% equity after this amount of time. That's money I would never get if I rented a place. You know, when you move out of an apartment, you might get a deposit back.
Right.
But it's the money that you were waiting to get back. You know, versus we talking tens of thousands of dollars. And so it just kept happening. And the only reason why I stopped is because it's not cheap no more.
Right.
It's just not.
The game has changed.
For the level that I want, it's just not necessary for me. It's just me and my dog.
How did you even educate yourself in this?
YouTube.
University.
Yes, girl, because none of my friends, I had one friend that owned a home, but we weren't like close like that. So I knew it was a possibility, but all those years I spent alone in my room, that's what I would be doing, just reading stuff. And I'm telling y'all, I am a self-starter for sure, 10 million %. So I just will go on YouTube, how to do this. You know how the algorithm is. Try this. And it's funny because there's still some resources that I missed out on, like down payment assistance program. I didn't use any of those programs, not knowing that I could have saved even more money. And so now I just try to tell other people, like, hey, please look this up. Please make sure you qualify. Try this, try that. But yeah, girl, just YouTube. And you know, of course, if you have a realtor and you bond with them, they can be helpful as well because they want to sell a property at the end of the day and you want to move. So we all in it for some kind of benefit.
For us, right? So for someone who feels that this is intimidating, because a lot of people, I do hear a lot of people talk about real estate and real estate investing. Actually, my best friend has started her journey. And so, you know, I'm just curious to know and how she got started again. She just had money savers. Like, you know what, I might as well buy this condo. And she's like rented out, then her townhome. For someone who feels that this is intimidating and just so out of reach for them, because it does seem like, you know, who would have thought you, little girl from Atlanta, be like, I'm a real estate investor. You know, I do this. And I done flipped a few properties. So, yeah, if that feels so far-fetched for them, like what advice do you give them for them to get started? Yeah.
So
and
it absolutely
themselves.
does cost money. There's no way around it. So, like, seriously, don't just get into it because you see everybody doing it. If you don't have enough funding, especially with ownership, at least 3 months of expenses saved, I don't suggest it because there will be something that comes up. Some kind of, now granted, when you buy a home, there's like a home inspection, so you know what you're getting into, but something can happen after that. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, I'm not going to say don't do it, but don't do it right now, number one, especially in this economy. Number two, I would say look up resources, maybe down payment assistance plus the word, whatever county you're looking to move into. Look into new construction subdivisions. They have a lot of incentives to move to their community. Sometimes they'll give you $30,000 plus down towards your down payment assistance, and you coming out of pocket $0. All you need to do is get up and move. Look at YouTube videos. I mean, see what other people have done, even if the videos are old, because it is just like moving anywhere else. Like once you're in there, all you're doing is providing financial statements, proving that you qualify to pay it. Because if you're renting somewhere, you are paying somebody else's mortgage. That is just, and you're paying a mortgage from a property they probably bought years ago. And so people talk about like, you know, they waiting for the market to crash, but they fail to realize, you know, if the market in housing has crashed, the job market has also crashed. So are you going to even be in a position to buy that home? And the prices of homes is just going to continue to get higher. So if you think it's expensive now, don't check back in 2 years. You're going to be sick.
Yeah.
Sick
You're really
to your
going to be
stomach.
upset.
You're going to be told, actually. So I do think if you're in a position to do so, start small. Again, my first property was a 1-bedroom condo, 1 bathroom in Sandy Springs in a very old community. And when you say condo, you're probably thinking high rise. No, my condo was built in 1982. It was not very attractive on the outside, but it did the job. My mortgage was $709, and I wish I could have kept it. Oh, I know they probably. I don't even want to think about that. And that was 2017. Today it's probably worth like $160 or something like that. And that's not a whole lot, but that's money that if I sold it today, I would have made a lot of money.
And so you talked about savings. Like, how would you say real estate creates like long-term wealth? There's a couple ways. To me, you don't earn that wealth by living there. You know what I mean? You can't. You should live there if you want to feel like you're an expert in that space and owning homes. Like if you never owned before, I think living in real estate is a good way to understand like some of the things that come up. This is my method when I have bought homes. I took a break. So first things first, I look at where it's located. Would people
is this a desirable area? Do they have a good school system? Places where there are highly rated schools tend to increase in value over time very positively.
Okay, good
and
advice,
you won't have a
y'all.
hard time looking to sell, because if people have kids, they want to put their kids in a good school. People that want to spend money. If it's a low rated school, I mean, it's not that you won't have a hard time selling, but you might not sell it for much. You know, there's some, if you know an area, especially in Atlanta, that has a low performing school, look at the history on Zillow for an address, and you will see that the value has probably increased $1,000 to $2,000 a year. And that's not a lot of money at all. That's very, very, very important. Also, you need to look at the accessibility to the main highways. Are there grocery stores? What are things that just create the ultimate convenience for somebody to want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to take this off your hands?
Right.
That is very, very important. It's not just about the house itself, because I know that people know you can move further outside of Atlanta. You can get a house that's large for pennies, but it's 55 minutes off the highway. You might sell it to somebody, but you ain't gonna sell it to many. You know what I mean? So that's very important. Think about like the reason why you buy things off the shelf at a retail store. It's like so many perks about it. Look at real estate the exact same way.
That's a great perspective. You know, I've never heard it even put like that for you to say that. So that's a great perspective. Y'all should know what you're talking about. So I love that. What mindset do you feel like you had to adapt even getting into this lane? And then we talk about new legacy, you know, like what legacy do you feel like real estate opens up, you know?
It makes life easier for the generation after you, if you play your cards right. Number one, you can create a home that is family friendly, so you can have the gatherings, you know, you have the holidays at your event. If somebody is down, like when I came back from California, I live with my sister. My sister has a large enough home that she was able to make room for me in her home. If she hadn't done that, I would have to pay to live somewhere else. You know what I mean? Which would have been a burden for me, because I'm trying to buy a house with the money I saved, and I'm shelling it out paying someone else. If you can hold that home and you can pass it down to your kids, so now when it's their time, they don't have to worry about down payments and rent and all that. Likely that house is paid for. So maybe they need to just worry about the taxes, which is a few thousand a year, or I mean, it could be, taxes vary, but I'm just saying a few for the sake of conversation, and the utilities versus like someone today, if you get a house, let's say you get a house that's $300,000, anywhere from 0 to 20% you need upfront for a down payment. People might not have that, especially fresh out of college. So now they're more likely to rent than or wait till they're married to buy a home with someone, which who knows how long that might take.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? Also, you can turn it into rental property. You know what I mean? You can make it Airbnb if there's no restrictions around it. So there's just a way. There's apps where you can rent out your backyard. You can rent out your pool. You can rent out your driveway. There's just so many things you could do with real estate, and you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of land for that. So I just think that you should just don't look at it just for a place to live because it's nice and you want to brag about it. Like, think about every possible angle that you can make money.
I know that's
real.
right. What advice would you give to women who want to invest but they don't feel confident yet, like financially or even mentally? Like, what mentally does this take, you know, for you to even be doing this?
Well, I think first things first, if you're not comfortable yet, I do suggest still speaking with a realtor, somebody that you connect with. When I first met my realtor, I wasn't ready yet. It was like a year or so until I finally reached out to her, because they might know something that could help you that I'm not able to share on here because present market might have certain requirements. So even if they really know what your goals are, they can help you find the resources to address. So when you are ready, you can work together. Also, I just think you should think about what you want for yourself long term, just in general. Like, do you want to be, the home that people come to? Do you even care enough about having a home? How big? Right. What's the quality of life that you want? You know what I mean? If you want somebody that wants a big, nice, beautiful house, well, you're gonna have to be strict with your finances, or you need to start just look now, see what's going on, so it's not such a shocker to you when the time comes. So I think some people think that you could just buy a house because you want it, but there are qualifications that go into that as well. Like if you got car loans, student loans, all that chunks away at how much the bank is willing to give you.
And it's a process. Like you said, it takes time, a whole year.
They dig into it. They dig into your history. Your credit has to be good. People can say, oh, you don't need that much. Please, y'all, having poor credit is expensive. You pay a lot more on your car note. You pay a lot more on your house note. You can't get any credit. Nobody's going to give you anything. Like, please just pay all your bills on time. Pay them back and pay them quick.
Okay. My daddy, what registered to me, my dad told me one time, like, bills, it ain't going to stop coming. Like, once you get them, it's forever. And it's like something about him saying that made me, it's like a light bulb when I was like, okay. So we might as well pay them.
Hey, let's say you spent $300 on your credit card and it's got a 35% interest rate. So now you paying what, 90? I was a business major, but you might be paying an extra 90 something per month on whatever that percentage is on a $300 transaction. So you might as well give the retailer extra 90. Would you have done that? No. So don't give it to the credit card company.
Right.
So think about it, please, y'all. If you don't have the cash to spend it, don't put it on the credit card. Like, I'm please.
That's real now.
Please, you don't have to cash. You don't got to cash. You don't got to credit either. Credit card is not for a rainy day. It's not for an emergency. That's the worst time to use it. Actually.
People, that's good. I work for a bank too. You came from a bank, and people, a guy came in my teller line and told me that one time, and that always stuck me. He's like, listen, you can't, if you don't got the cash, don't put it on your credit card.
Because they prey on you being vulnerable. Don't get them. Listen, it's so many benefits to having credit cards when you get free stuff, and they banking on you not knowing it and not doing it. So don't be that.
Don't be one of them.
Yes, please.
So I love that, and I love that you just are true to this, not new to this. You've been in this ownership space.
Yeah, for a hot minute.
Well, a hot little minute, but she is a power host on Pierce Space.
I sure am. Got it real quick, too.
Okay, real quick, handling her business. And so much so they want to do an article on you. I seen that you shared that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the idea of the modern ATL and turning that idea and making it a reality and making it a vision to come to life. How did this even creep into your mind to start a venue? Did you go to a venue and say, hey, I could do this? Was somebody telling you should do this? Like, how did this even come about, you owning a venue space?
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning of the episode, I just be doing stuff.
I love that.
So I come from a family that likes to host. We have events. I also like to host and have events. And so as I've upgraded the quality of my events, I wanted to have it at other places. So like you mentioned, I did tour other venues. Sometimes the customer service was poor. Sometimes the venue was cool, but there was something about it I didn't like. And sometimes the pricing wasn't necessarily what I was willing to pay. And so I'm just like, what does it take to open a facility like this, a creative space in general? And so that was some years ago. I thought about the idea. I didn't really know how to get into it. I never opened like a physical business location. I thought that you had to have a realtor. I thought that you needed, it just was so much that I did not know. And so I kept putting it off. And then I was like, post-pandemic, I'm like, okay, I want to buy more rental properties, but that's very expensive. Maybe I can get a house and turn it into an Airbnb, but that is a lot of turnover, you know what I mean? Or it's a lot of risk. People break TVs, damage property. Do I want to deal with that? Oh, I forgot. I wanted to open an event space before. Similar concept, except it's a lot less of a, it's not, I'm not going to say it's less effort. But when I think Airbnb, I think of like the risk of people actually having parties.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Or at least this is for that.
Or the neighbors complaining, and now I have to shut down my Airbnb, and now I have a house I can't do anything with, and I got to sell furniture and all this other stuff. And so I revisited the concept of opening an event space, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so I talked to my friend, my hairstylist, whose mother's a realtor. We got started. Okay. I saw some options to find it on my own. And that's what happened. So I just started reaching out to owners of commercial properties and got quotes, started seeing how much people were paying, got a real reality check. It's actually worse than real estate.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, God. I will live in my venue if times get hard.
Right.
So for real. But yeah, so I started to understand, like, what can I afford? What can I risk right now to even get this started? What does it take to get started? And then I got laid off from my job in the process of that.
Wow.
Yeah, actually got laid off from my job. And then thankfully I had the funding that I needed, thanks to my real estate business, to prove that I at least had something to get started. So I provided those documents and I got approved. And it really was straight from there. And I was scared. I mean, it took me days to sign the lease. They were like, hey, we got other people interested. Like, are you going to sign this lease? I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. All right, I'm locked in. I got to figure this out. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to document this journey and tell people how I got into it, some of the stuff because I am not somebody that shares personal information on the internet. Like, you probably saw my journey. You probably don't know nothing about what I've been doing. You know where I've been, but you don't know about what I've been doing. And I'm like, all right, Alicia, you're a confident person. You have great people in your circle, in your network. It's time to utilize it.
I want to talk about some more, just some of the early challenges that you face, because again, we see the finished product. I'm having my event there. I just think it just happened like nothing, Girl, but I know with great things comes challenge, So I just do want to talk about some of the early challenges that you face and some of the ones that maybe caught you by surprise. Like, what? I didn't even think about this. And now here I am facing it, I'd like to hear about that.
The biggest challenge was finding a commercial landlord that would allow my business idea. Because when they think of an event space, they think of loud noise, they think of trash, they think of traffic. And I knew I wanted to have community-based events like workshops and classes and things like that. And so that was a challenge, and then on top of that, finding a place in an area that I wanted, because there were a lot of places out there, but did I want to drive 2 hours or an hour to like, what if an emergency comes up?
Right.
And so now you kind of facing those challenges. And on top of that, I didn't know that when you rent a commercial space, you're responsible for the maintenance as if you own it. You know, so I'm
just like a house.
Just like a house. And it costs more. But I'm thinking, well, I'm renting this place out. Oh, if something breaks, call the landlord. No, actually, he collects that money and he go home with his wife or whatever they do. But yeah, so those were challenges. As far as like once I got started, some things that came up, besides maintenance, just, you know, getting a flow of things. You know, I've always been a professional, so I'm able to like adapt to the environment as if I've always been doing it. But there were some things I needed to make sure I was prepared to say to clients if something came up. Something you might experience for the first time and you don't know how to respond. You better be quick. You know what I mean? You need to just be professional and communicate quickly and effectively. Like that was something I just had to just hone in on. And once I started like seeing people appreciating that, I'm like, I got to stick to it. This is my business model.
You don't become a power host by not communicating.
By just sitting around twiddling your fingers.
You know
you
what
can
I
twiddle
mean?
your fingers, but be on top of it too.
Be on top of your stuff too, because people will call you out and put you
they
out
sure
there.
would. I'm calling right back.
For the women who are tuned in right now and they're scared to make the move, whatever that move is, even if it isn't opening a venue space, what would you tell them about trusting yourself to March 1st? Like make that first decision before you can even March 4th. You can't March 4th if you don't March 1st. So I love that, and it's stuck with it's ever since I heard that. My cousin is the one who dropped that in my ear, just telling me about marching 4th. I'm like, no, because you can't even March 4th if you don't March 1st.
And ever since you said it to me, it's been on my
Six,
mind.
Right? So make sure you come to the Ladies in Motion Vision Board party where we got a whole bunch of women talking about this. But, you know, I just want to hear it from you, you know, when it comes to trusting yourself so that you can take that step. Because, again, you didn't know anything about owning a venue, but it's like, hey, I'm just trying it.
Yeah.
But it's working. Apparently, you a year in, so we're here. But just what advice would you give when it comes about trusting yourself?
First things first, being an entrepreneur is very difficult. I know that people hear that a lot, but think about wherever you might have had the worst customer service and think about how much control the owner didn't have in that situation. You are asking for someone to represent that business in a way that you want, and that's not even that person's business. So just really think about how difficult, when I say it's difficult, I know that's vague advice, but being an entrepreneur is very difficult. And you need to think about, are you an organized person? Are you trustworthy? Do you really know what you're doing? They say don't go in it for money. We all in it for money. But like, are you doing what's necessary for that money to come continuously? Are you retaining customers? That is so important. Also, as a woman, you need to be very matter of fact about your policies and how things are supposed to go. You need to communicate because you want people to take you seriously. When they see this black girl open the door with these braids in her head and this southern accent, they probably be like, oh yeah. But you just need to be very firm in what you say. Be consistent. Don't give anyone an opportunity to get over on you. Don't be too nice. Don't try to make friends. I mean, we had our situation was different. We connected right away, but usually I'm really starting on my tours just to set that proper precedence, because when people get too comfortable, they start asking for things, they try to get over, and now you're the one that's losing. They get the benefit of all the stuff you have to offer, and you get nothing out of it but a headache. So just have that inner confidence. And I can't say that I always had that confidence. So maybe that's why I didn't ever see myself as an entrepreneur, because I was afraid. Now I don't care. I'm speaking up. I'm setting policies. I'm updating that contract. I'm charging accounts. Like I'm doing
seriously.
it.
And did anything in particular happen to like get you that way? Because I always say like I empower women to walk boldly in their purpose. But up until last year, I can shamefully admit I had been tiptoeing in my purpose. But now it's like, you know what? I'm unapologetic about me. I know my value. I know my worth. And if you don't, go over there. You know what I mean? So how did you step into that confidence though? Even as a business owner, like what do you think got you and prepared to that?
Honestly, a couple of things. I will say repetition helped because I got comfortable with what I was doing, and feedback from other people, both negative and positive. People not being happy about, like, I've had plumbing issues. I've had lights blink on. I had power outages before. Things that I had to like act on in the moment. And and people have tried to, get money back for certain issues that was not related to what I was going through. And I just think that as much as we don't want challenges, you absolutely have to experience them to feel comfortable. In present day, they always talk about how the kids growing up, they're getting like participation prizes. But when we were growing up, we got punished for this. We couldn't do that. But that really did build character, because that's some stuff that come up that you would never tolerate. Or like, I'm glad I grew up in the hood. It gave me the toughness that I need, but it also gave me the life skills necessary to deal with ambiguity. Yeah. And I think that is something that makes me like had made me more comfortable as time went on. I just needed to get my feet wet. Really, that's really what it was. And it's got to be in you, not on you.
So if you could do anything different though, because you've been in this for a year now, if you could do anything differently, would you do anything differently?
Yes, I would do it sooner.
Really?
10 million%.
Oh, that's great
Absolutely,
advice.
absolutely. Because now I'm learning the hard way that I could have learned 5 years ago. You know what I mean? I had the tools to do it back then. I just didn't know that I had those tools. I would have and then I probably would have. Maybe if I had known differently, I would have bought a space instead of leasing one, because now I don't have the leverage to buy a space because I own these properties.
Right.
So I think that I would have done that, but I also think that I needed that experience as a landlord to know how to deal with like a higher turnover business model, or to know what to deal with business financing. And also, I didn't even have the money to start a business if I hadn't started that. So that would have been the barrier, but I absolutely wish I would have done it sooner.
Really?
For sure, yeah. And probably would have done multiple different areas for sure. 10
venues.
Can't do it now. Not yet.
Not yet. There we go. Not yet.
But yeah, it's in the works. Yeah, for sure.
So I want to talk about your 2025 because you had a great 2025.
I did.
And this is me from stalking your social media.
It's not stalking. It's all public information.
And I love, though, because you said you don't put a lot of things out personal, but some of the things that you share, I love that for you, and I wanted to share it, okay? You said you paid off some student loans. You paid off all the student loans. Congratulations on that, number one. Yes. Was that, like, were you very intentional about that? Like, were you, was that, some people I know, they got them, and they know they ain't finna pay them. They put them on the back.
I never wanted to have debt in my life. I told y'all growing up, that's all they talked about, student loans.
Right.
I never wanted that. Also, remember, I'm buying properties, and those loans was preventing me to be able to buy a house at the price that I want to really buy for. I'm not eligible. So for example, if let's say you they say, oh, you qualify for a $100,000 loan, and then you got a $300 car note. So that's now you probably only eligible for $950,000. So it really plays a big part in that. So I always was actively paying off my loans, but something did happen that is a privilege that I have to speak on. So that first school I went to, Barter College, they shut down. And so that was a for-profit institution. Long story short, people from that school and a lot of other similar schools filed a lawsuit against those schools for predatory lending. And so during the first Trump administration, Betsy DeVos, who he appointed over the Department of Education, denied all those applications without even reviewing them and giving them a fair shot. So during the Biden administration, they reopened those cases and Biden approved them. So they forgave all student loans.
What a blessing.
A blessing. So I initially owed maybe like $52,000 in student loans. A bulk of them was from that school. And then when I got to Clayton State, I only owed them like maybe $19,000. And so I just paid it off. I just was intent. I'm like, I don't care if it's I made like a plan. I said I got to pay it off by 2026. So I divided it by how many months I had. And then once I got to the finish line, I said, I'm just going to pay it on off. I didn't want to, and it did put a hurt in my pocket, but I had to get rid of those loans. That's exactly what happened. I was willing to pay the larger amount, but it would have taken me so much longer.
That's real, girl.
If it weren't for me going to school because my friend went, and you see how this is why you got to just do it. You just got to do it because going to that school, I still got credits from that school that I was able to put towards Clayton State. But if I if I would have been like, oh, I'm not going because I'm gonna have to owe this much in the future, I wasn't even worried about it. I said, I'll pay it off. I'll figure it out. And then that's what happened.
And now here you are debt free from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have no debt. Now, I do pay on my car, but my car is worth more than I owe on it.
Hey, fuck that.
But yeah, essentially, and then my properties, they have loans, but there's someone that's paying it on my behalf. So I don't owe anybody.
That's such a one time for not owing anybody. Okay, girl.
Now, do people owe me? That's the next episode.
That's the next one. I love that. You know, that's the type of ROI we like. Yeah, okay, girl. I see that you also have, since we speaking here, you got your highest credit score yet. You shared that out there.
Yeah, 821.
821.
I don't mind sharing that.
That's amazing.
I didn't even mean to. And you see on the picture, it was like a dip. That dip was when I paid off my last student loan. So then it dipped right back up
where it needed to be.
But my credit was like a 640 when I first started buying real estate. So this is me. This is me with large loans, still able to grow my credit. That's why it's important to pay stuff off. You have to. Don't carry a balance, y'all. It costs money. It costs money.
And you're hearing it from her first, okay?
Because I've paid a lot in interest rates, and I'll never do it again.
Them days are over.
Over.
Okay. I love this for you. You participated in your first panel.
I did, yes.
As a woman in tech. What was that like? What did it make you feel like? Could you even imagine little Alicia being a panelist, a woman in tech?
First of all, I have the utmost respect for people that do panels. Like, before this, I'm like, me, I said, I don't even got nothing to talk about. And he was like, trust me, you do it. One of my friends, Paul, we worked one of those seasonal jobs in college. I worked at the Ferris wheel with him. Sorry, I don't even put your old job out there, Paul. But he hit me up. He worked for this institution that actually helps people get certifications in their field. And so they had a spotlight for women in tech to talk about how their educational background and how they got to the space they're in. And see, I wasn't always, because my path was so non-traditional, I feel like that might be discouraging to people like them. But maybe they also had a non-traditional background. So I'm thinking to myself, like, y'all probably want somebody that went to like a bigger undergrad program, maybe got their master's or Ivy League, you know what I mean? But no, they were I got so many messages from people that wanted to connect with me separately. They were looking for mentors.
Oh, love
I'm just
that.
like, me?
Yes, girl, you.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just doing stuff. I just be doing stuff, y'all. But it really reassured me, like, girl, you are successful. You have a career and you have skills. But I just looked at it as a means to an end. Like, I've never been like, there's some people in corporate America, like, they eat, sleep, and breathe it. That's never been me, ever. So I'm just in there playing a part so I can get a check. That's the truth. I'm sorry. That was them. But now I'm in a field that I really enjoy. So it's different. I mean, I'm still not somebody that eats, drinks, and sleeps and spits it out, but I do still really love what I do. So I get them that, but that's.
I love that so much. So 2025 was great for you. You did a lot of traveling. Tell me about your traveling. Went to Korea, Australia. You did a lot of domestic traveling. Just tell me why that was important to you, because Jalen, that's the curator of Marketing Mimosas. Okay. I interviewed her. Our episode's coming March 4th, actually. Okay. And she made travel a priority for her, and so much so she said she put in her budget, and her her plan was to go somewhere once every month, and she did it in 2025. She was able to attain that. So, did you have some type of travel goals, plans, and why was that, just important to you to travel?
Yeah, so I've lived a lot of lives, if you can't already tell. So first things first, I used to want to travel a lot when I was younger, but I would try to plan trips with people and it would fall through. Cousins, friends, whoever I was dating, whatever. So 2015, I had planned a trip for me and someone to go to Disney World, and that person decided the day of that they couldn't go. Now, that's a long story that I'd rather keep to myself because they, we were moved from that situation. But I went to Disney World by myself. I was like, I want to go. I'd never been. And I had a friend who worked there who helped me get tickets. I'm like, I can't let my friend down who's done this kind gesture for us. Yeah. So I went. That was my first time. And I was like, wow. It really don't take nothing to take a trip. So I'm just going to start traveling by myself. And that's exactly what, it literally lit a fire under my feet. So that from 2015, this was like August 2015. Wow. And then I've been traveling solo. Now, I've taken group trips and traveled with my sister, but I had reached a point where I'm like, you know what? If I want to go somewhere, I have to go. Yeah. So Korea, one of my friends from Apple, she moved to Korea like 6-7 years ago. And so I always told her I would come see her. And so I did. I just booked that trip. I went up there. Now, it was a solo trip. Technically, I didn't spend the whole trip with her, but I planned everything myself. I stayed by myself. I went around the country by myself. And Sydney was with my sister's job. Her company they attend a conference every year in a different country, so I go with her on those. So that's a little life hack. Got a game. Okay. And then the domestic cities were a lot of the domestic cities were on the way to the different countries. So it just was like I would make a trip into 2 trips or whatever the case is. But yeah, girl, now I'm gonna travel now. I'm actually going. If they say you either travel or either pick travel or starting a business, we're gonna travel. I got to travel because it actually. Leaving the country, leaving your city actually makes you smarter. It's like reading to me. It introduces you to a different world. You learn new language. Opens up your mind. It makes you way more open-minded. Yeah. That's a part of a lot of people's problems, why they're so judgmental and closed off to certain ideas. But traveling shows you that what you see on TV and in the media is just not the same thing at all. So you got to get out. Even if it's just across this country, like you have to do it.
I want to ask you, because you balance a lot. You work. You're investing in properties. We're managing your investment. You have this venue space. You're dealing with a lot. So I just want to ask you, what keeps you going on the days when like ownership and entrepreneurship feels like heavy and like too much? Like, what do you do to get yourself out of the funk? And I also wanted to say something that you shared, that you were able to maintain a wellness goal that you set in 2023, and you're still consistent with it. And I just think that's important, especially with the question that I just asked you, because wellness is squeeze that in too. You gotta squeeze it in. You know what I mean? And so again, just to tie it all together, what keeps you going on those days where it feels heavy, it can be overwhelming, and what do you do?
The fear of being poor keeps me going, actually. But yeah, that's what it is. So I do think, though, you cannot do it all yourself. I do now have a property manager for my rental properties.
That's good.
I'm still involved, but she handles all the maintenance and communications for that. So thank God for Lux Life Rentals. Lux Life Property Management.
There we go.
Black-owned business, woman-owned, somebody I met in middle school, mind you.
Wow,
yeah, ain't
love
that crazy?
That.
Do right by people. You never know how it's going to pay off.
I'm telling you.
And wellness is something, that it came out of depression. You know, my granddad passed away. I was very sad. I saw how big I looked at his funeral. I said, "Now wait a minute,
We got to get this together.
what letter of the alphabet is that?" And so I was like, I'm making
You just crazy, girl.
some people I was shaped like a capital P, baby. I don't know what I was. I don't know what that was. But it was like a bump on a log. Oh my God. Anyhow, so I started working out at home. I didn't go far for that. So I said, January 2024, I'm about to start working out. I'm gonna start working out in the gym because the at home stuff, it was something, but it wasn't enough. And then I lost like 30 pounds. I've gained a lot of muscle. Don't know how much, but I am not where I used to be, Lord Jesus. But yeah, and that is a lifelong. I told myself I will never stop working out. And I don't mean like I don't need to look like Cock Diesel, but I need to be comfortable with my body. I need agility. I need to have endurance. I need core strength. These are things I need for life.
Yeah.
I want to be that old person that's outside. They like, dang, ain't she like 90?
Yeah, and she still got it going on.
Yeah.
Yes. And so wellness is important to you.
Very important. I mean, not just in physical. I'm talking mental, social, financial. It is very, very important. It is my peace of mind. I don't have any vices. I just don't want to be broke.
Okay.
Lord Jesus. Please.
I love that so much. What's one thing in venue ownership that people don't talk about, though?
It's not easy. It's not a part-time gig at all.
Wow.
And I think people might think that because the bulk of events are on the weekend, but during the week you were hosting tours, you were fixing that contract, you were sending out invoices, you were handling any kind of maintenance issue. Your phone is ringing all day long. You're getting text messages from people's guests at the event. It is a full-time business operation. Absolutely. And it's not cheap. I spend thousands of dollars to keep my venue open, and I'm very affordable, even when people say I shouldn't be.
Yes, very affordable, y'all. And just professional. Again, like what got me, you responded right away. I was like, you know what? I'm off. I'm going to this tour, and we just connected.
Yes.
I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. We're going to make this work.
I'm very straight up. Even in my real life, I don't play about the communication. Like, I'm quick. My phone, people like, you answer on the first ring? Honey, my phone didn't even vibrate yet, and I answer the phone. But that's important to me. But I'm also just obsessive about stuff like that. I get in my head like, oh, if I reply to a client like an hour later, they probably done already found a new venue. Oh, my God.
But that's what's up, though. You own it.
Yeah, got to.
As we we're in 2026, but as we, go through this year, you had a great 2025. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. And just reaching a year in business is not easy, y'all. Entrepreneurship is not easy.
It's not, and it's not free.
It is not free. It's not cheap. I'm telling you, man. As soon as I thought I had me a good amount of money saved, I was like, oh, next thing you know, I needed this. I was like, dang, God dog, ladies in motion, talk it out. God dog it, what? Lord, you sure? Okay, you sure? Because it's a lot, like you said, and there's things people don't talk about. But I just want to ask you, like, what is some things that you learned all these years, and in 2025 in particular, though, that you are carrying into 26 that you expect to help take you to new levels and create new legacy,
So pay for convenience. It is absolutely helpful. And learn how to do it on your own before partner with somebody else. Because you don't ever want to give anybody the power to take it from up under your feet. And you don't want anybody telling you something about your business. Like I never thought about going into business with anybody ever. I have with the real estate stuff, but it's so much that comes with that because what you're thinking is not what that person is thinking. Your priorities are going to be totally different, especially if it was your idea. Their money management might not be the same, but once you're locked in legally, anything can happen.
Wow.
So yeah, word to the wise.
That is great advice.
Thank you.
How can we stay connected with you, follow you, book the Modern ATL, and all the things? See you at your next panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. How can we stay connected with you and all that good stuff? Let the people know.
So first things first, to check out my venue, go to themodernatl.com. Here it is on my sweater, or you can just Google the Modern Luxury Gathering Suite, but it'll be a lot easier for you to put in themodernatl.com. It's also the Modern ATL on Instagram, and then my personal Instagram is Alicia. Follow me. UHH.LICIA. UHH.LICIA. So it's like Alicia, but it's like, Alicia. A little goofy. But yes, please check me out. We are booking for 2026, 2027, 28, whatever. Just let me know. We're going to make sure we got room for you.
I'm so excited that we did this.
Yes, me too.
And was able to connect. I'm looking forward to future connections and like partnerships and workshops and just little events that we can do. I'm all with that.
I'm with it too. I'm here for the community, for the people.
Anything else that you want to just like leave the people with? Something that we can be on the lookout coming from you? Any pivots you got coming up soon? Anything?
What is coming up, y'all? I'm not sure yet. So I am prepping for graduation season. As far as events, I'm working on some stuff right now. I don't really have the official green light to promote it, but if you stay tuned and you follow me on social media, you'll be the first to know. I also just want to leave you with a little quote. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream, okay?
And we're going to end this there.
Hello.
Don't nothing come to a sleeper.
But a dream.
But a dream.
Last thing you want is somebody to take off with that idea that you had. Don't let it happen.
Don't let it happen. Y'all, you got to March 1st.
Ooh, I love that so much.
Listen. You got to March 1st. Okay, y'all. So that's great advice. Alicia, thank you again so much.
Was phenomenal.
This was great. Great experience. I look forward to just doing more and just shining light on you, giving you your flowers. I don't know her from a can of paint, honestly. I just been following her on social media. And, you know, again, your presence online, it is authentic and genuine. And I can tell you a hustler. Like, I can tell you, go get it.
I got muscles up under here, too.
Y'all. So I'm just honored to even sit with you and just be connected now. So
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you to all y'all for even listening and giving me the opportunity for even tuning in for me to have somewhere to sit down today. So thank you.
So if you're tuned in and you enjoyed today's content and you would like to see more content like this when I'm sitting down with women that's winning in your local community, make sure you just like on this video, comment, leave your favorite part of today's section, and make sure you subscribe so that you know the next time I'm sitting down with a woman that's winning, okay? Until next time, bye.